covering Brexit as we do on this channel is it's a fascinating scenario, and it's one that is going to be looked back on our political history, and indeed people in the future who will look back and look upon our political history and indeed study politics. There will be a key feature about all this period, and that is that Brexit has no policies. And because Brexit has no policies, it's hard to really tackle what Brexit is, or even talk about what it is or what it might be, because there's some parts, as I've said before, we don't really know or fully understand what all the impacts of Brexit are going to be. Now, some of the impacts we do know, because it's very, very easy. It's simple mathematics. You take a country out of a very successful single market union of nations, it now stands by itself. All you do is you take one set of numbers away from the other, and you're left with that. Not only that, but we've got numbers coming in of the potential, quote, trade deals that are, quote, meant to be better and world-beating, as we are this, as Brexiteers dream and fantasize that we are this secret trading nation, just, shackled by the evil EU. Couldn't be further from the truth. But because we have no policies, this creates huge problems. Really does. And this article that we're going to go over today highlights these exact problems of why having an idea of Brexit and not being able to turn it into tangible policies is going to be the real damage caused by Brexit. So this article comes from The Guardian, and it's the Brexit industrial strategy, theatre but no policy. The conclusion of political rhetoric and commercial reality in Cambridge's Silicon Fen threatens to expose the government's industrial strategy for what it is, dropping a Union Jack over the wider edges of global capitalism. Earlier this summer, Boris Johnson's slogans sought new powers to block outsiders from picking up British firms, especially high-tech ones. Weeks later, it emerged that the jewel in the crown of UK computing may depart from these shores, and ministers said nothing. That may be because the ownership of the company in question, the world's most important chip design firm, ARM, was previously decided by Brexit politics just after the 2016 vote, Theresa May having voted to defend UK firms from foreign takeovers, blessed ARM's sale to SoftBank, a Japanese conglomerate, for over $24 billion. That move came with conditions to double the workforce and keep ARM's headquarters in Cambridge for at least 5 years, a pledge that expires next July. SoftBank is now in talks to sell ARM to Nvidia, the world's most valuable chip company. This would be bad for the UK. About 2,500 people work at ARM's Cambridge headquarters. There would be a brain drain to Silicon Valley. Nvidia's ownership also threatens ARM's business model. The Cambridge outfit makes money by licensing its processor designs. Apple's iPhones are powered by ARM's-based chips, as are fridges, cars, and drones hooked up to the Internet of Things. ARM is going big on 5G. Nvidia is one of ARM's customers. Other chip makers that rely on unfettered access to ARM's cutting-edge technology would fret about losing it to a rival manufacturer. ARM's co-founder, Herman Holzer, says that the UK's technology sovereignty is at stake. He's correct. If ARM were to slip into American hands, then the US could, under its laws, decide which companies ARM is allowed to sell to. Dr. House sees as ARM's sale as a major step towards the UK becoming an American vassal state. Why, he rightly argues, along one of the last great European technology companies with a dominant position in mobile phones, is to become part of the US trade armory. Whether we are allowed to use our own British-designed microprocessors in the UK and Europe will be decided in the White House rather than in Downing Street. We've been here before. The US and China are vying for global technological dominance. Last year, ARM had to tell staff to stop working on China's Huawei, while its lawyers argued that the firm's chip technology was of UK origin and would not breach US restrictions. The company won the right to supply existing designs to Huawei, but the question mark was placed over future sales. Folded into Nvidia, ARM would be forced to end its Chinese business. The UK chips would become weaponized in the US-Chinese trade war. And then, what if that were to become a US-EU battle as well, too? A better place would be for UK to take back control. Daniel Zucker, Cambridge Labour MP, argued sensibly for the UK to take a strategic stake in ARM. If Britain can invest £4 million in an untested satellite firm, then it would surely be better to invest in a state-of-the-art can-back a world-beating company. Dr. Hauser also remains an ARM shareholder and says that ministers could block the Nvidia sale and encourage SoftBank to take the company public, with the government holding a golden share. The state should intervene to stop and protect strategically important British businesses, and ministers ought to defend this country's technological base. Having made a noise about recovering trade policy for Westminster, Mr. Johnson shouldn't be allowed to give up sovereignty over something as unique as UK know-how to Washington under the guise of a commercial transaction. And that's just one of the things that we've been talking about on this channel for ages. And it feels like, when you're talking about Brexit on this channel, especially me, it feels like you're watching someone, a young child, on a roundabout, and he's eating lots, a fizzy drink and cotton candy. And you can tell he's going to be sick. And you're like, come on, child, it's time to come off. You're going to throw up. But the child is insisting on another go round, and he insists on another go round, and you can tell he's going to be sick. It's only just a matter of time. That's what Brexit sometimes feels like, and trust me, there are many metaphors for Brexit, and that's just a new one that I'm trialing out. But as you can see just how important it is, this was one of the big Brexiteer arguments. But are any of the Brexiteers standing up for ARM? No, they're not saying a single goddamn thing. And this is what we can expect from future trade deals. And by the way, those jobs in that factory, if they're bought by Nvidia, gone. They will just go to America. As was said there, it will be a brain drain straight to Silicon Valley. Not only that, but Washington will dictate who and what that firm can sell to in the UK, and that is a UK company. This, ironically, is the exact same thing Brexiteers were complaining about that the EU does. EU's never done anything like that. Washington will. Washington will weaponize that to hell and back. We've already seen them do it in the trade war between the US and China, and I hope Trump loses. I really, really hope he does. But, it's 2020 and, anything can happen. And it's, as it has shown, we cannot have nice things. So, as was said a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, I don't know if you saw it, someone found a crystal dagger in Spain. So, please do keep it safe, because I'm sure what can only be killed by it will be along pretty much any day now. So, that's 2020 for you. But this is just one of the unintended consequences, and this is what's going to happen. US firms and big industrial bases are going to come, snap up British companies left, right, and centre, and then just move the jobs to America. This is what we warned about, and this is going to have other unintended consequences. This is just the beginning of this type of stuff. This was apparently one of the big selling points of, taking back control of trade policies from, Brussels to Westminster. Now, Boris Johnson and the Brexiteers are just going to go, hey, Washington, do you want to dictate our trade policy? Washington's going to agree left, right, and centre to that. And there's nothing we can do to stop them. We aren't a big enough economy to be able to make America bow to our whims like they can to us. And this is just the start. And it's all because it goes right back to what we said at the start of this video. There is no policies connected to Brexit. And because there are no policies, stuff what we've just been over there will happen to even more companies. And as was said in that article, a very unique British way of knowledge and know-how will just disappear to the US. And it won't come back. And that will be a huge shame. Brexit supporters should be up in arms at this, but none of them will be. Because generally they don't really care. They don't see the effects. They're not going. They haven't yet felt the effects, but I can guarantee next year they will. And as I've always said, when they start to feel those effects, that's when the anger will start to get really, really rising. And, it will be a very worrying time. This country is going to get even more destabilised. And I really do worry about it. But anyway, that's that. So please do like and share this video to tell people about this very, very worrying incident, because I think more people need to hear about it. If you do like the channel, please do subscribe down below. We talk about British politics and, of course, Brexit as well. And if you would like to support the channel, please do subscribe. That helps hugely. And down below, there are links to my Patreon and a one-off donation link, should you like to support the channel that way. So that's it for this, and thank you for watching.